Welcome to the Baboom Baboom podcast, your go-to source for expert tips on car stereo installation, vehicle wiring, and all things wiring related. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, we've got the advice to help you power up your ride. Get ready to crank up the volume on your knowledge and make your next wiring project a success.
The holidays are coming up soon, and I gotta say, I love seeing all those lights go up, but man, they can get expensive.
Oh yeah, especially if you want to do something really spectacular, it can really hurt your wallet.
That's so true. So for this deep dive, we're exploring a more budget-friendly approach to creating temporary holiday lighting displays.
I like it. Festive, but without the financial stress.
Exactly.
Sure.
And our source for this is a blog post from Baboom Baboom, a company that sells wire for this purpose, but we're not trying to sell you anything.
Right, just sharing some knowledge that can help everyone create awesome displays without breaking the bank.
Right. So they really push copper-clad aluminum wire, which is also known as CCA wire.
Yeah, CCA wire is a great option, especially for temporary setups like holiday lights.
What makes it better than like regular copper wire for this kind of thing?
Well, CCA wire is a lot more affordable for one thing, and when you're working with LEDs, which are pretty much the standard now for holiday lights, it's a perfect fit.
Oh, okay, why is that?
LEDs are super energy efficient, right? They operate at a much lower voltage than those old school incandescent bulbs, and CCA wire is designed for those lower voltage applications.
So it's kind of like a match made in heaven.
Exactly. You get the performance you need at a fraction of the cost.
I like the sound of that. The article mentions using 18 to 22 AWG wire for LED setups. What exactly does that mean?
So AWG stands for American Wire Gauge, and it refers to the thickness of the wire. Basically, the higher the gauge number, the thinner the wire.
Okay, and why does that matter?
Well, the thickness of the wire determines how much current it can safely carry. You don't want to use a wire that's too thin for your lights because it could overheat.
Yikes. That's definitely something you want to avoid.
Right, could even be a fire hazard. So 18 to 22 gauge is usually a safe bet for LED holiday lights, but it's always best to double check, you know?
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Speaking of safety, where do we even begin with all this? Like, how do we actually start setting up these displays?
It all starts with a plan. Before you even think about touching any wires or lights, you got to visualize what you want to create.
Okay, so like sketching out a layout.
Exactly. Measure the areas you want to eliminate, decide on the type of lights you want to use, and get a clear picture in your mind of what the final result will look like.
So planning is key. Got it. What about materials? What will we need besides the CCA wire and the LED lights?
Well, you'll definitely need some extension cords to reach those outdoor outlets and connectors to attach the lights to the wire and to connect different sections of wire together.
Right, right. And what about keeping everything organized? Those wires can get tangled so easily.
Ah, yes, the dreaded tangle. Cable ties are your best friend for that. Keep those wires nice and neat and also prevent them from becoming a tripping hazard.
Oh, that's a good point. And what about automation? I know timers are pretty popular for holiday lights.
Definitely. A timer or a smart plug can make your life so much easier. You can set them to turn the lights on and off automatically so you don't have to worry about it.
I mean, that's a lifesaver, especially if you have outdoor displays and it's freezing cold outside.
Right. And with a smart plug, you can even control your lights from your phone. Turn them on and off from anywhere, set schedules, and even integrate them with your smart home system.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so we have our plan, our materials, and hopefully some automation setup. Now let's talk about the actual installation. What are the key steps to making sure everything is safe and secure?
All right, so safety first, always. When you're dealing with electricity, you want to be extra careful, especially if you're working outdoors.
For sure. What are some things we should keep in mind?
Always start with the GFCI outlet. That's a ground fault circuit interrupter. It provides protection against electrical shocks, especially in damp environments.
Okay, good to know. What about the actual wiring?
You want to wire your lights in parallel. This means each light has its own individual connection to the power source. So if one bulb burns out, the rest stay lit.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No more chasing down that one bad bulb that's making the whole strand go dark.
Exactly. And speaking of those connections, you want to make sure they're well protected from the elements.
It's going to be winter after
Yeah.
rain, snow, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So use waterproof tape or heat shrink tubing to cover all the connections and elevate the wires whenever possible to prevent water damage.
I see. So we're protecting the wires from the elements, but what about protecting them from us, like people walking around and accidentally tripping on them?
That's another important consideration. You want to make sure your wires are secured properly. You can use staples or clips designed for outdoor wiring, or even run the wires through conduits in high-traffic areas.
Conduits.
Yeah, they're basically these protective tubes that you can bury underground or run along walls to keep the wires safe and out of sight.
Oh, okay. So it's like giving them their own little pathway.
Exactly.
Need top-quality electrical wire? Baboom Baboom's got you covered. Get your 6-pack today. Each combo comes in 6 different colors and a total of 600 feet of wire. Perfect for any project, and you won't find a better price in the industry. Head over to baboombaboom.com now to snag yours. That's baboombaboom.com.
Keeps everything neat and tidy and prevents any accidental damage.
I like it. So we've covered planning safety wiring. It seems like there's a lot to think about when it comes to installing holiday lights.
There is.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, with a little bit of planning and attention to detail, it's totally manageable, and the end result is worth it.
I agree. I'm already feeling more confident about tackling my own holiday lighting this year. Now, what about making those lights shine? Like, how do we create those cool color-changing effects that we see everywhere these days?
Ah, yes, the wow factor. Color-changing LEDs are a game changer. They can add so much personality and excitement to your display.
I've seen those. They're pretty amazing. How do they work?
They use multiple LEDs within a single bulb to create a wide range of colors, and some even come with pre-programmed patterns or allow you to customize the colors and effects using a smartphone app.
Wow, that's pretty high tech. So you can literally have a light show on your house.
You got it. And you can find these color-changing LEDs in all sorts of styles, from string lights to rope lights to spotlights.
So many options. Okay, so we've covered the basics of using CCA wire LEDs and color-changing effects. But what about going beyond just stringing lights across the roofline? What are some other creative ways we can use these materials to create something really unique?
Well, think of your lights as an art form. You can use them to highlight architectural features, create depth, and add drama to your display.
Ooh, I like that, playing with light and shadow.
Exactly. You can create pathway lanterns using mason jars and LED tea lights, wrap tree trunks with LED rope lights, or even build custom light-up figures using wireframes and LEDs.
So it's like taking those Pinterest-worthy holiday decorations and bringing them to life.
Exactly. And you don't have to be a professional to do it. There are so many resources and tutorials available online that can guide you through the process step by step.
I'm feeling inspired already. It sounds like the possibilities are endless even on a budget. But before we get too carried away with design ideas, I think we should dive deeper into the topic of automation.
I agree. Let's explore how timers, smart plugs, and even motion sensors can not only add convenience, but also enhance the magic of your holiday display.
Sounds good to me. Let's take a quick pause and then come back to discuss how to make our displays not only budget-friendly and safe, but also a bit smarter. So we're back and ready to explore the world of automation for holiday lights. We talked about timers before the break, but what about smart plugs? They seem pretty high-tech.
They are, but also surprisingly user-friendly. You can control your lights from anywhere with a smartphone app. Turn them on and off, set schedules, even dim them.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Like you could be at work and suddenly remember, oh, gotta turn on those lights.
Exactly. No more rushing home to flip the switch. Or you can set schedules, so they turn on at dusk and off at a certain time.
That's super convenient. And what about using motion sensors for holiday lights? I usually think of those for security, but...
Yeah, but think about it. You could have pathway lights that illuminate as guests arrive, or reindeer that light up when someone walks by.
Oh, that would be so magical, like an interactive element.
Exactly. Adds a whole new level of fun and surprise.
I love it. But what about people who aren't really into all the smart home stuff? Are there simpler options for automation?
Definitely. Basic timers are still a great choice, reliable and affordable. You just set them to turn the lights on and off at specific times.
Yeah, that's classic. And hey, sometimes just manually turning them on and off is fine too.
Absolutely. Whatever works best for you.
Speaking of simple, let's talk about storage. I always struggle with tangled lights after the holidays. Any tips?
Ooh, the dreaded tangle. The key is to prevent it in the first place.
Yeah.
Wrap your light strings around cardboard or those empty wrapping paper tubes.
That's a good idea. I've also seen those storage reels specifically for holiday lights.
Yeah, those work great too. They wind up the lights nice and neatly, so they're easy to unpack next year.
Worth the investment, I think. Okay, so we've covered installation, automation, storage. What about the design aspect? Any advice for creating a truly unique display?
Think of it like decorating your home indoors, but with lights. Use them to highlight architectural features, create depth play with light and shadow.
Oh, like making certain areas pop?
Exactly. And color plays a big role too. Warm white lights create a cozy feeling, while cool white or blue can be more elegant.
It's like painting with light.
Yes. Don't be afraid to experiment. Find your own style and have fun with it.
I love that. It's all about expressing yourself. Now, we know we've been talking about temporary lighting, but what about permanent outdoor lighting? Can you use CCA wire for that?
That's a good question. But for permanent installations, it's best to stick with pure copper wire. It's more durable and can handle the elements better long term.
Oh, okay. So CCA is really best for temporary setups?
Right. Pure copper is the standard for permanent wiring, safer and more reliable.
Safety first, always. And while we're on that topic, what about disposing of old or damaged lights?
Yeah, don't just toss them in the trash. A lot of holiday lights contain materials that shouldn't end up in landfills.
So what should we do with them?
Check with your local recycling center. A lot of them have special programs for holiday lights.
Oh, good to know. And if recycling isn't an option, maybe donate them to a charity or thrift store.
That's a great idea. Someone might be able to give them a second life.
I like that. Okay, before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on LED light strips. They're super popular now. Are they compatible with CCA wire?
They are. LED light strips are great for creating those sleek, modern looks. And yeah, you can use CCA wire with them, but always double check the voltage and gauge requirements.
So do your research, make sure everything is compatible?
Exactly. And if you're ever unsure, consult an electrician.
Good advice. I'm feeling so inspired to start decorating. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Have fun. It's not about having the biggest or flashiest display. It's about creating something that you love and that reflects your holiday spirit.
Beautifully said. Let's take a quick pause and come back with some final thoughts on how to make this holiday season the most luminous one yet. Wow, we covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the nitty-gritty of using CCA wire and LEDs to design inspiration and even responsible disposal.
I know it's amazing how much there is to consider when it comes to holiday lighting. But I think we've really shown that creating a festive and beautiful atmosphere doesn't have to drain your bank account.
Totally. And beyond just saving money, we've also discovered how much room there is for creativity and personalization with holiday lighting.
It's not just about stringing up lights. It's about showcasing your unique style and building a display that truly reflects who you are.
I love that idea. Each house becomes a canvas, telling its own story through light.
Exactly. And with all the technology available today, from color-changing LEDs to smart plugs and motion sensors, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
So to wrap up this deep dive, I want to challenge our listeners.
Oh, a challenge. I like it. Tell me more.
Let's break away from the traditional this year and create something truly unique. Something that sparks joy, not just for ourselves, but for anyone who sees it.
I'm all for that. It's about pushing those creative boundaries and thinking outside the box.
Instead of just copying what we've seen before, let's experiment with new colors, patterns, and techniques.
Let's turn our homes into a symphony of light, each one a unique expression of the holiday spirit.
Imagine driving down a street where every house tells a different story through its lights.
That would be magical. A true testament to the creativity and personality of our communities.
So let this be the year we embrace the unexpected, the unconventional, the uniquely us.
Let's make this holiday season the most personal and memorable one yet.
Well, it's been fantastic diving into the world of budget-friendly holiday lighting with you.
The feeling is mutual. And remember, safety, creativity, and joy. Those are the guiding principles for a truly spectacular holiday season.
Happy decorating, everyone. And may your holidays be filled with warmth, laughter, and of course, the magical glow of lights that capture the spirit of the season.
Need top-quality electrical wire? Baboom Baboom's got you covered. Get your 6-pack today. Each combo comes in 6 different colors and a total of 600 feet of wire. Perfect for any project, and you won't find a better price in the industry. Head over to baboombaboom.com now to snag yours. That's baboombaboom.com.